Hey guys, this is Impact Hall of Famer Gail Kim, and you are watching the Countdown.
What is up, heels and baby faces? Welcome to another episode of the Countdown City WrestleCast. I'm your host, JC. Joining me is that guy, Tommy.
Yo.
And we got Big Mike.
What's up, guys? I got nothing other than that.
It's hard to, have anything clever after what we just witnessed this past weekend, obviously.
Something happened this weekend?
The person we were sus about did not turn. He
That didn't narrow it down. I'm sus about a lot of people.
I know, exactly. In the cage, we'll talk about it. We addressed it with him too.
We'll talk all about it. We'll get your thoughts. We'll find out how many times people have flipped off their McDonald's drive-thru order after he appears on screen. So many of that, believe me. And talk all about what went down at Elimination Chamber.
I
was
talking
show.
about United 210. I'm sorry, we
were
were talking about Mamba Bash 3 and the War Games. Okay, my bad.
I don't know if I was talking
Mike and Tommy will share their thoughts on that. They were there in attendance. I was at home watching Chamber. And then we will preview AEW Revolution today on this episode of the WrestleCast. Thank you in advance for joining us. If you are with us, please feel free to chat along with us. Let us know your thoughts and predictions as we go through this. Now, obviously, this is the part where we'll talk about any wrestling news that's out there. Obviously, everyone's going to want to talk about what went down at Chamber, especially at the very end.
It was called War Games.
We will talk about all that when we get to that part of the discussion on the episode. But beyond that, any other major wrestling news?
Besides that, I don't think so.
I think the only thing that sticks out is that Acclaim has announced it's potentially coming back.
Yeah.
Have you guys heard about this?
It was connected with...
I was going to talk about that on my channel later, but yeah.
Yeah. We'll just briefly say this. Acclaim, what once thought long gone, is potentially coming back, announcing they're going to try and be kind of rebooting, remastering a lot of old school games. And they have some ties to Jeff Jarrett in this. He had a hand in the old WWE games made by Acclaim, believe it or not, long before the THQ ones. Yeah.
So this isn't Max Caster and the other guy, right? That's not that Acclaim.
No.
Gotcha.
It took me a second to get that.
Really, Sean?
Good Lord.
Like right off the bat. But also, we're about to talk about how they lost.
Well, let's just jump right. Might as well get into that discussion.
And there's Jason right there. We go, Jason.
Everyone's itching to discuss it. So,
also, Burnsy and Angel, what's up?
What is up, guys? Mike, Tommy, take it away. What went down behind the pulga, the Mission Flea Market?
Normally, that stuff we don't want to talk about on a podcast, what goes down behind a pulga, but this was a wrestling show. So,
what went down United 210 this past Saturday? Go for it, guys.
Okay.
So,
well, first of all, so they started with the cage up, very similar to with RCW, because obviously it takes a while to put up and secure. So, they announced during the day that War Games was going to kick it off. What they did announce until you got to the show was that there was a pre-show match. So the pre-show match happened within the cage, and B, it was a triple threat and basically a debut for two of the three competitors. So two of the three competitors basically had their kind of official singles wrestling debut in a steel cage. So not many people can say that, I assume. But there was a triple threat of the True Alpha K-Jax, Tommy's favorite, versus is it the Chosen One, Brock Ali?
I think so.
And when I've shared some stuff, I'm just going to say the broccoli emoji comes out, so I think that's part of it. But yeah, so against who's also, by the way, in high school, like they don't even like he is. And then I think his name is Jaden Valentino, who was merch guy at Hybrid. So they had a triple threat pre-show in the cage. Yeah, I know it's crazy.
That's still it hurt my head.
Well, yeah, of course Tommy was late. Like it was a shame. And look, these two kids are impressively athletic. They can pull off a lot of stuff. But K-Jax is still a big, strong man. And as much as I hate the fact that he uses the big swing, because he is no Claudio, he did put one in a fireman's carry and then big swing the other, which was pretty impressive. So obviously K-Jax came out with the win, but if you are gonna debut in wrestling, a steel cage is not it's not that bad way to do it.
No, that's pretty intense.
Rock Ali is younger than me, and so yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
But like I said, the high school he does attend, bet the football coaches are pissed because I'm pretty sure they could use like a tall, athletic wide receiver.
Whoa! He's younger than Angel.
I think he's 16, and she's older than 16. So yeah.
I've never felt older in my life than I do at this moment. I'm not even my niece getting engaged didn't make me feel this old as I do right now. Jesus Christ.
And I'm older than you, Tommy, and JC is like 4 months older than me.
Yeah.
You guys right now. I'm kidding.
I mean, I guess technically you're the oldest according to some people in the chat.
I'm the oldest in Texas.
All right.
My dad's still alive, so
yeah. So that kicked off the pre-show, which is kind of interesting. Then we had War Games, Texas Treats versus the Texas Kingdom, and
guess who we cheered for?
Yes, obviously we cheered for. If you go to United 210's YouTube page, the thumbnail is the Kingdom, Ridley in front, and then you can see Robin Stash with Tommy and his "Long Live the Texas Kingdom" sign. So shout out to that. You can kind of see me behind.
Which thankfully was still in the trunk of my car because I thought about that as I was getting out.
Right. Unfortunately, my Ride with Ridley sign and the Texas Kingdom sign was not in my truck. So I did forget to bring it to the show. I was also at my family's all day. But yeah, so that kicked off with 5 treats against 4 members of the Texas Kingdom. Now, I don't think they explained this well to the crowd, but they followed the same format as RCW's War Game, which was not the traditional winner goes first and then you go back and forth. It was legitimately a random participant drawing of who goes in. So it started off with Jesse Funaki and Don Juan. And then it wound up being 2 treats getting in. I think David Teen and Diego.
Yeah.
Before the Kingdom got someone else in.
Yeah.
And then also, you know what, Knopf? I know I forgot the sign. Mock me for it repeatedly.
Wow,
okay?
no.
Yeah, he won't let me forget that. Right. And I'll share a kind of funny story in a minute about that. So it was not the tradition. And in fact, I don't know if they shared that with the participants because they seemed a little upset when they realized that the treats were getting 2 people in a row.
Damn, who runs that promotion? I mean,
right. But yeah, so that would go, and then they did it, and then there was some. I don't know if the treats tried to pay off some people, if there was some misunderstanding.
Yes.
The irony is the 5th member of the Kingdom was the 5th member of the treats at the RCW War Games, which was the Big Man Hit. And if you follow RCW and watch their social media, after that War Games, Hit didn't lie. He said, "Pay me, I'll do your bidding, whatever. I'll take the biggest. I'll take whoever pays me." After the show, they supposedly paid him, and he just asked for a Texas Treats shirt, and they kind of ignored him and walked off. There's a promo out there from RCW's social media where they kind of just used him and then like, "Oh, peace, see you later." So probably a little bit of animosity for that.
Returns to the Texas streets.
And then to Tommy's extreme delight, he hit Callie with a kendo stick. Several people hit Callie in the end. Then apparently they busted out some beer bottles, and the Texas Kingdom smashed them on the heads of the treats. Ridley did not fully smash hers onto Callie's head, so it kind of bounced off. And
given the dexterity of that head, I'm not surprised.
yeah, so I guess on the bright side, Callie grew an inch or two. Granted, it was from a bump, but you look for the bright side. So yeah, Texas Kingdom was successful, and that was really cool. What else we had? We had a tag team invitational, Dead Man's Hand, which by the way got their new shirt at the show. I like it. Cool. Viva La Rasta, Purple Haze, Most Wanted. Luckily, SAPD was not around because there would have been a lot of citation tickets, possible arrest for possession.
For sure.
And then Jacob Toa and Chaos Child. And Jacob Toa and Chaos Child wound up coming out with the win. And they are now the number one contenders to the United Tag Team Championships. You got something to say, Tom? Yeah.
I was more looking at Angel Marie's comment, but also I love how the team that did not have a tag team name are the ones who won.
They do have a name.
Doesn't it always happen that way? I mean,
no, but they
okay, they have. Oh yeah, you're right. They have a name now. They sure as hell didn't have one going into that. Oh, hello.
Right. There's a Spider-Man on the loose.
Yeah, it's time for him to go to bed.
Yeah.
Good night.
I think they were announced as Toa and Chaos Child, but you're right. But now in the post, they have a they have a name.
Okay.
But, I forget what it is though. But it did prove my theory that I've been saying all along that Jacob Toa doesn't need Don Fernando. So
Well, yes, there's also that.
Just know that I'm right about something.
I mean, it happens every now and then.
Rarely.
Good night.
Tag team titles, Living in Fashion. Who was the team that jumped them? I didn't write it down because they were announced at the show, but it is
World something.
What do you need to say?
There was like the Timu pimp who took his grandma's rug and used it as a jacket, then found a walking stick and called it a pimp cane.
A pimp named Slickback would be very disappointed.
Yeah, I think so.
Hold on,
Well, as the Rock would say when he was actually cool, it doesn't matter who it was.
That's true.
Because Living in Fashion pulled off the win despite getting jumped before the bell.
Yep.
So Devin and Zakai retain their tag team titles. Danny O'Ryan versus Epidemius Jr. Epidemius Jr. defeated Danny O'Ryan, became the new United 210 Heritage Champ. That was actually the main event, so I'm kind of out of order. That was kind of cool. But apparently, as one of the best consolation prizes in history, apparently Danny O'Ryan and Maya World are now engaged. So lucky MF for him.
I'll lose the championship for that.
Nice.
Right? Yeah, I don't know if he was acting like a pimp, but he had like a walking stick and he had it looked like a shag rug or a shag carpet like jacket.
Yeah.
So
you're talking about the Timu pimp? Yeah.
Now stop telling lies on there, okay?
Wow. No.
Key Vibes versus Gia Michelle. Like we said, two people very familiar with each other. Don't mind kicking the crap out of each other.
At all.
And had a hell of a match. There was a funny... Okay, I got to give Freak Show credit because there was a moment where he was outside the ring and Key had knocked Gia into a position basically like for a 619. And Freak Show was just sitting there like taking a picture. And later he literally put it up on social media like, hey, Gia, thanks for taking a picture with me. And I was like, wow, the disrespect.
That's funny. I like that.
But Key Vibes did pull off the win, retained her championship, and then after the match came by and gave me, Tommy, and Jason hugs, which was really cool because we are support Key. So, and then earlier in the show there was a triple threat. I think this actually happened right at the beginning of the show. Danny Vintage versus Animo versus Armani Sage. And much to the dislike of some people in the chat, Armani Sage was victorious. And I hate to say it, but he's looking really impressive.
Some people in the chat, some people who are on the show.
Yeah, but no, he pulled off a win in a triple threat. And then so the Epidemius versus Daniel Orion was actually the main event. The United 210 champion Casey Blackrose actually defended his title about 2 matches before the main event versus Eddie Martinez, who was managed by Nastico. So we told Nastico, make sure to remember to have your brass knucks because that worked out so well for you last time.
Yeah, it's not like he's costing you championship matches or anything.
But Casey did break Nastico's back, which was pretty cool, and he defeated Eddie and retained the title.
Just a good night all around.
Yeah. So, hell of a night. It was very similar to the yard. It was someone's house in like front yard property. It was just bigger. So, still pretty cool. They had vendors. They had food places. I don't think Knopf's wife would let him leave the tent to come play with us, but for like 5-10 minutes. So we got to talk to him for a little bit. I'm just kidding. Sarah, you're awesome. Knopf, come hang out with us. Stop being a loser.
That was fun.
But yeah, it was a hell of a show. They've set up stuff for the future, which in a couple weeks they're back at the Yard, and things are getting set up. So really fun show. Really enjoyed it. A lot of fun people hanging out in the crowd and stuff. And then the matches were awesome. Like United's got a good vibe. They got a good thing going. No pun intended. So yeah, Tommy, anything else?
No, not that I could think of. But just I was shocked to see Orion and Epi be the main event. But shout out to them. They absolutely killed it because it was a real like get your blood going kind of match. So
yeah, for sure.
Oh damn, Nuff! You had restrictions, and Angel calls you out for not giving her a ride.
Ooh.
You had restrictions because she knew Celine was around. What does that have to do with it, Nuff? Why would that prevent you from? What's that about?
Yeah, what's up there?
That's crazy.
What's going on there? What's the problem?
Yeah, like I think she's pointing out enough that you revealed on your show with with Ridley actually that you're bald. So
okay.
No, on his he had Ridley on and then he had the treats on this past week. But so apparently many people don't know that Knopf is bald because he's always wearing a hat.
Yeah.
So this shocks some people. There's clips of it online. Go find them, guys.
It's actually pretty funny.
But yeah, so good show.
All right, nice. So their next event is March 21st at the Yard this time. That's the same as a Triple Shot Weekend Hybrid Experience on the 22nd. Then, of course, RCW on the 23rd. So we'll be talking all about that in a couple of weeks.
Yep.
So, all right. Well, let's get into our discussion of WWE Elimination Chamber, everything that went down this past Saturday in Canada, in Toronto.
Blame Canada.
Yeah.
Canada.
And I'll start off by saying this. I expected it. I knew that fan base was going to boo the United States national anthem. Look, if you're in this country, get used to it. Been happening in hockey, been happening in the NBA. There's nothing against us. It's more against some of the policies we put in place. I'm not trying to get into the politics of it, but that's essentially the reason why. So, and that's that. That's just the way it is.
No, you're 100%.
Yeah.
And so, I can't say I blame them. So
yeah,
I mean,
and
Pat McAfee freaking out was a bit much, but he's always a bit much. So
he's just gonna call it out. Pat's Pat. That's just what he does. On to the show itself. Started with the Women's Elimination Chamber, and right off the bat, before they can close the gate, here comes Jade Cargill. What a start! Holy
that wasn't
cow.
a hell of a way to start the show.
Yeah,
and that was some cinema too. The way it's set up,
really
and played out. Yeah.
trust me, we're sitting down. My Tina, the kids, we're ready for it to begin. Here comes Jade Cargill, like, oh man, coming after Liv. No, left hand turn and just beat the crap out of Naomi.
Yep.
So, my question to you guys is this: do y'all think Bianca Belair had a hand in it also?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I yes, but I'm starting to wonder if they're going to swerve us and be like it really was like something Bianca wanted, but Naomi executed, and like a real I did it for The Rock type deal.
I was just about to say, are you about to call her the Rikishi to Bianca's Rock?
I did it for The Rock.
It's one way to recycle storyline, right? You know, so.
Well, they do like to do that.
Well, as long as we don't have another storyline where someone hits a pedigree and it takes them 20 minutes to actually go for the pin cover. Oh, I'm sorry. Am I slipping into something else? That is what we're talking about. My bad.
Depends on the background of the person being pinned.
Yeah, true.
I'll be honest with you. I have expected Jade Cargill to take Naomi's place, and if that had happened, I would have been. She's probably going to win this whole thing, but instead, he just beat down and leave, and it was like, wow. So, you know,
I see what you're saying, but I think for where they want to go, that wouldn't have helped anything. So
yeah.
But
so for now, they didn't do that. For now,
for now, I was expecting it to when didn't like Edge beat up somebody and take his place in Chamber.
He beat up Kofi, which is like
that's what it was. Yeah,
that was like one of the few times in wrestling I was like legit actually mad. Like I was like legitimately upset that they did that. I was like, what?
Yeah.
Also, supposedly, if you go back and like watch the clip at the end where she slams the door on her head, they said, "Look at Roxanne, like the face of terror sheet, like the horror, like oh,
like what did I get myself into?" Kind of thing.
So like
for sure.
Yeah, kudos to the actor because Liv being scared, you know, because they've all been playing like, oh, everyone thinks it was Liv and Raquel.
Yeah.
So you could even get away with like. She knows she's innocent, but she knows that she thinks it's her
because of the video.
So
Bianca Naomi confronted him about it.
Like she knows she's innocent, but she also knows that in her head, Jade thinks she's guilty, so she's coming for her.
Yeah.
So I like that. And then Bianca's all super cocky or whatever, and then complete turn once he went after Naomi and freaking out in the pod. So
just the helpless, like you're stuck in a pod for 5 minutes watching it go down, which was like, wow. And it was just the storytelling of this was just great. It was so amazing. Obviously Bianca
it is one of their best, I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah, despite all that, suddenly Bianca has to enter right after Naomi's out and suck it up, and she ends up winning the whole match. Really thought it was gonna be Alexa Bliss, especially because Bliss got in there last.
Yeah.
And but yeah,
you thought or wanted?
I mean, I predicted it, and I think a lot of people were thinking it was going to happen too. We were thinking of Bliss versus Rhea Ripley, like do something with that. Roxanne
a lot of people say it was, no, I was
kidding. Yeah. Roxanne had a great performance, dude, and like why is she still in NXT at this point, guys? Like.
Yeah, what was she? Okay, thank you. I saw when I looked at NXT and saw her there, I was like, what the hell is the point?
I feel like it'll be official after Mania.
Yeah.
I guess.
It's weird because they're booking her pretty strong in what they do. She entered her third Rumble before ever being main roster official. She lasted and set the record now for the Women's Rumble. Directly goes into the Chamber, right? And had to get double teamed to be beaten.
Yeah.
Like got hit from Liv and then got the Twisted Bliss. So, they tried to make her look strong.
Yeah.
I think it's just to finish off NXT stuff because as strong as that division is, she was kind of the stalwart of that for several years. It's crazy saying that because she's so young.
True.
Yeah.
But she was that for several years, and now it's kind of got more people in there, and it's pretty well taken care of. But I think it kind of finished off some stories after Mania. I'm pretty sure she'll be official, and we all know where we think it's going for her in Mania. So
yeah, pretty sure it's setting up her and Bayley. Although the fact that she got pinned by Liv Morgan using Bianca's hair of all things for leverage.
Yeah.
Maybe Liv gets thrown there. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what.
Well, they're
can end with
tag
that
champs,
story.
so I figure they'll be in. If there's anything with her, it'll
Yeah.
be her and Raquel with the belts. So
Yeah.
Second match was the tag team championship. Tiff and Trish against Nia and Candice. Yeah, good luck following the cinema of the Elimination Chamber. At least they played up the whole hometown crowd thing.
Yeah,
with
that
Trish.
part was kind of unfair.
Yeah. To be honest with you, this is probably, I hate to say, the forgettable part of this pay-per-view.
no, you're not wrong, but
Yeah. But then moving into the unsanctioned match. Look, I'm going to throw this out there. This is an early candidate for match of the year. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn unsanctioned was just amazing on every level. I like that they kind of took it a step further on the presentation of it, where the referee's not even in official gear.
yeah,
He's just in a black shirt. It's got, anything goes.
the lighting was different.
Yeah. And they covered the WWE logos on the turnbuckles. I don't know if anybody
Yeah.
caught that detail. Just the small details they did on that.
Okay,
Yeah.
I noticed that.
They came out and covered that, but you think, okay, unsanctioned, it's going to get hard. But dude, they told a story that was just amazing. And it's crazy. We're just starting the third month of the year, and this is already a match of the year candidate with the unsanctioned match.
I think that's fair.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's, I mean, it's surprising, but it shouldn't be. It should be one of the things like these companies strive for. Is like at least one match a month should be a match of the year candidate.
Right. So,
But also, I think it's crazy for the amount of times these two have faced each other, or friends of theirs have faced each other, and then retired to Mexico. That they can still pull things like this out, and to a certain degree, be restricted by WWE's like. You can't do this indie crap like CM Punk told what's his name?
Jack Perry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They did it within the context of WWE what allows. And supposedly the barbed wire chair, like they didn't gimmick it, it was real barbed wire from what I've read or seen. So
no. And just maybe you can tell, maybe people can tell if it is or isn't, but yeah, I saw that report too that they didn't gimmick it, but it was really like these guys are not in the main event. Obviously, they were telling the guys in the chamber, okay, follow that.
I
the
mean,
men's chambers after that, follow that. So,
yeah, I mean, honestly, well, okay, I feel like they have almost the Triple H Shawn Michaels syndrome of they're such good friends, and so when they put the match like this together, they're like, okay, do we even have a limit? And the answer is a resounding no. Okay, cool. So we just go beat the shit out of each other. I would prefer that. Thank you, sir. And so they go do that.
that's what's crazy in wrestling. How often that's happened. It's like the people who put the best, most brutal matches with each other, super close friends. I guess it's either you trust each other or you know it's going to work.
Yeah.
Real barbed wire, cry me a river.
Nice callback, Jason. Good stuff.
Yeah, Punk didn't come out and address that when he was verbally abusing everyone on Raw.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be he'd have to call out Kevin Owens, and my friend, there's not enough alcohol in the world that he doesn't drink that would make him do that.
Yeah,
So,
after his MMA career, he realized probably not the smartest move. So,
I mean, there are probably MMA dudes who wouldn't dare fight Kevin Owens because he's just a psychopath.
yeah. No, Angel, it is the glass stuff, but we were joking about the barbed wire in the unsanctioned match being real and not faked or gimmicked or shaved, whatever they said.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now the men's elimination chamber match, and honestly, between the two matches, I think the women's one was much better. This one though had its moments. Obviously Logan Paul had to get the spot off the top of a chamber. CM Punk fixing the light in his pod multiple times over and over. If you guys caught that,
Yeah, no, I saw that.
yeah, and this match really highlighted how much John Cena needs to tan. It really does. If you
shave
go back
shave his head or get okay.
Yeah, look, everyone, if you go back and watch it, just while the match is going on, before Cena gets into the actual match, while he's in the pod, go look at how he's just kind of swaying back and forth. And then go play your old SmackDown vs. Raw video games. He looks exactly like The wrestlers did the video games just waiting to get in, very much like a creative wrestler, just kind of swaying back and forth, stepping back and forth. Think about it.
He is kind of he is kind of a robot. So,
Yeah, so it's just, that was like the thought. He and I were looking. I was like, man, he looks like he's just in a video game. Look right now. He's just kind of like swaying back and forth, watching everything. You know, it was just hilarious. Just think that way. But this did have its moments. Punk saying, "Oh, they know it's me." Over the freaking
yeah, at the very end, that was funny.
The finish I think was well done on the storyline part. Obviously, I was picking Punk to win. I thought that would have been cool, but the fact that Rollins already eliminated, curb stomps him, and then Punk passes out, and then technical submission, Cena wins. Right?
And then while that's going on, yelling, "Die!
Yes,
die!"
Yeah, there's a clip where Cena yells "sorry" to CM Punk because which kind of gets undercut literally 20 minutes later. But whatever.
I have a theory I want to share in a minute. So
okay.
Well, let's talk about the whole thing that happened. Then I'll kind of share.
So then, obviously, after the match, Cena wins. Chamber goes up. Then we get the intro of Rock, and I still don't know why Travis Scott was there. I just don't understand.
I don't either. 100%.
He might.
Also,
either,
why do they let him smoke a blunt on PLEs and then pretend that it's? I think he was. I thought the same thing, and I saw people online like, "Nah, it was a blunt." He was just pretending to like make it look because smoke was coming from the thing he was holding. Because I was like, "Why are you carrying incense?" But considering what he did on the Jey Uso entrance, this makes way more sense.
Yeah, and I think it is legal in Canada anyway, so not like they can do anything about it, but
that's fair.
So we get the whole thing. Cody's there. Well, Cody first of all comes out to do the face to face with Cena. That's his opponent at WrestleMania. In much the same way Ripley faced off with Bianca, but then Io Sky came out, and then obviously what happened on Raw. Shocker! Io Sky is the champion and defending against Bianca Belair at Mania.
Well, as of right now.
But Rock comes out. This bizarre story about "I want your soul" thing. Cena's there watching it. Great moment where Cody says, "Rock, go fuck yourself," and just a hell of applause. Cena becomes a hype man in that moment, and just one of those heel turns you just never saw coming.
Well,
maybe some people had an idea beforehand, but he's already got his main event spot, and just for him to like look at the Rock make the signal, and then that's it. It turns into what it does.
Does YouTube flag you for making violent looking gestures?
I don't think so.
Because I just want to reenact what The Rock did right before Cena turned. I'll just do it like this. I'll be like,
"Yeah, I know."
Just went. I don't know what he was doing. He was like slicing off the whole. He was like slicing off the face like Dwight in The Office when they were doing the CPR stuff. So.
Wow, I was even older.
What did you go with?
I said
face off. Oh yeah, where he takes the knife.
I went way over my
actually like a Rock Cena face off would be hilarious because that makes that makes
amazing.
about as much sense as like John Travolta and Nick Cage perfectly becoming the other version of the other person.
I mean, the skin tones are about the same anyway when you think about it. I mean, just
Rock and Cena,
yeah. Nick Cage is about as pasty white as
Cena. When I look at them, I get them confused all the time.
like R-Truth and Sheamus almost. So.
Yeah. So.
Okay. Let's stop the jokes here because I really can't tell those two apart. I mean, every time I see R-Truth, I'm just thinking, I didn't know Sheamus was on.
Right.
So,
R-Truth. I have to keep reminding myself.
Obviously, this news spread like wildfire. Oh my God, the biggest news in wrestling. Everyone's reacting to it. MJF gave his thoughts in an interview. And at this point, I'm sure everybody in the chat has their thoughts. If you're not watching this live, watch after the fact. Share them now. How you're feeling in this moment with Cena's heel turn. While I'm doing that, let me spit a little facts for you. 7,786 days. That
this
is how
rent?
long.
Oh.
That is how long Cena Cena was a face before his heel turn. From November 6th,
Hey,
2003
Dick and Rap.
to
What's up,
March
man?
1st, 2025.
Oh, okay, I thought you were going to share the Did I share the TikTok with y'all?
I don't know if you did. But just so you know, I did a little research on this. A gallon of gas when you first turned babyface was $1.59 a gallon. That was the national average. The national average now is $3.11 a gallon, guys. So that'll give you an
Deacon
idea.
Rap, thanks for joining us. I have seen some of these memes.
Yes, the
That one's
Titanic
actually-
one is fantastic. The Linkin Park "What I've Done," where it cuts off to the credits right when Cena looks at The Rock and his face turns. They just cut to the credits after that.
That's
yeah.
so good.
the JR version of how they would treat it.
The JR version of how he would have called it. Yes, that was
He was going to
fantastic.
burn in hell for this.
My thoughts on this are
Damn,
simple.
you're so straight up.
This
Why?
is
Tell me why.
first of all, shout out Triple H because God,
Yeah, I gotta give him credit on this one.
it's wow. No, nothing ever saw coming. He's getting this. Let's see, Angel's comment here. My friends who don't watch wrestling were literally asking me, "What the fuck? Why are y'all getting people hating John Cena about FYP?" Yeah. Cena teasing World Life 3 coming back on TikTok. You know, I know he said in an interview previously that he was supposed to potentially turn heel during the Rock Cena 1 storyline at SummerSlam. And they had music created. Like he recorded a song, whatever. I mean, why not go back to his album that he released so many years ago? Bad Man's not a bad heel song. So, I mean, it is a pretty good album. That was not a bad song.
Actually, I had that album. I don't know.
I have it too. Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
And sorry to believe that album went platinum. So you got something here.
Oh, I didn't know. What
Yeah.
Vince had a lot of money back then. So.
True.
I don't know if Word Life would be a good heel theme in this moment of the storyline because people love that theme song. You know, people would cheer that theme song.
Yeah, even when he was heel, they still kind of bumped.
Yeah, exactly. So. Like, and you need to. I don't know if you use Bad Man. If you use another song off that album, obviously you wouldn't use "Don't Fuck With Us" because of the cussing and everything. But then again, it is Netflix. But it's just so.
Yeah, great. But WrestleMania is not on Netflix. So.
Yeah, right. Well, Peacock gets away with stuff too. Bernie, there's no way Vince would do it. No, Vince wouldn't have. It took someone like Triple H to pull the trigger on this. So fantastic.
I have mixed feelings about it, but they have me intrigued. So I'll put it that way.
Well, yeah, share your thoughts. I mean, like go for it. Like, what are you thinking?
Okay. I think it's kind of weird to do this late in his career. You know, with him having just a year left, but I will give them credit for doing it at all, even with this little bit of time left, because it does make things more unpredictable, which in wrestling is actually a good thing. So I will say I didn't see it coming. I have mixed feelings about where they'll take it. There's no way he's going to be the heel by the end of this year. It's impossible. They'll change him back, but it's fun for what it is. I'll put it that way. I am interested in what the explanation will be as to why he did it.
I assume it's going to be as simple as he's desperate to get number 17. Mm-hmm. I assume so,
but see, even if it is just that, I think I would like it more if it's just that. Let me explain. If he's gotten to the point where he's just like desperate to get the win, kind of that petty to beat Flair's record, and you know, and
then
all that
Punk
kind of
right.
stuff. I mean, kinda, yeah. And would that be so bad? Because that's something that'd be hilarious too. But you know, I just think the props are there for it. It's kind of a mixed bag. If people don't like it, I get it. Like, and if people are not fans, I understand it. But I think it was a good move because unpredictability going into a WrestleMania is a good thing most of the time. I will say last year, Cody had to win. Cody had to win. There was no other logical outcome that would have made any kind of damn sense. Of course, I already said that. That's what logical means. But anyway, my point is, sometimes unpredictable is a good thing. And again, there's nothing wrong with like we say sometimes when we talk about a good storyline, cross the finish line. I mean, across the goal line, make the touchdown. That's fine too. But sometimes unpredictable can be good too because it keeps people talking and keeps you interested. So from a money viewership standpoint, I 100% get it, and I 100% for it, and I get it. I still have mixed feelings about it overall, but I get why they did it, and I'm intrigued as to where they go. Hopefully, they don't fumble the bag. I mean, they can't fumble the bag; they own the bag, but you know what I mean.
Mike, before we get your thoughts here, Sean, Bray Wyatt predicted it during the match. Yeah, the what was it, Funhouse match or something like that? The cinematic match that they did.
Total Divas and Total Bellas predicted it years ago. Those are the ones that cracked me up.
Yo, those are great.
Great. He was always a heel, and they show all the clips of
him. Shout out Raina Pig. You're the first one to post that he was a heel the entire time on Total Divas.
Yeah.
Angel, Loki upset they made him heel this late because I want to see how my mom's reaction. Like, I want to know, man. Yeah. Mike, your thoughts on this? You know, we showing our age here. We remember when Hulk Hogan turned heel. I think.
Can you imagine if Pat McAfee would have been in the background going, but is Cena his friend? Is Cena gonna turn like Keenan was?
But you know, like this was it. Like people like Angel, for example, our childhood was full of Hulkamania, of all those main event WrestleManias, of all that. We grew up with that, and then for him to turn heel when he did, it was like, whoa, that was such a big shocker. And now we're seeing Hogan without the racism, basically. Literally,
that we know of,
literally making a wish, completing a wish before an hour before his heel turn at Chamber, and then he pulls his heel turn. Like, is this on that level? Is this better? Where do you think this stands, Mike? I mean,
I don't know. I hate recency bias because it literally just happened. And here's the thing, all right. We're old. And like you just said, we've been watching wrestling for a long time. So, first of all you young millennials and Gen Z and all you other kids out there that are crying about this Cena, if you didn't have to live through lull Cena wins before he decided that he could actually pull off moves and Punk inspired him in like 2011 to actually wrestle matches and like not do the same get beat down Hogan, formula of get beat down, then come up with the heroic 5 moves of doom. Like when they actually remember that he could wrestle again in like 2014, then I don't want to hear you crying about this. Except you, Denise Day, we love you. You are perfect. You can do nothing wrong. And if you're sad about this, we understand. But you might want to cover your ears for the next few minutes of this. I've decided that as a person, I am forever jaded to WWE because we've been watching it for so long. I'm tired of The Rock. We all know this. I say this all the time. So part of me doesn't like his involvement in this. I think I would have been slightly more intrigued if it was just Cena on his own. But and to take this on a tangent off to The Rock for a minute, it annoys me because he came back on the January 6th Raw. Oh, Cody, you're my friend, whatever. No, like the storyline never happened because he had to be the good guy. And he had to get on the Netflix debut. Then he went on a podcast or whatever, same thing, was talking about stuff. Mm-hmm. Then after all this happened, he goes to the press conference. Oh, that was the other thing. He tweeted, I really love playing this final boss character. We're taking you on a ride. Then in the post conference
was a little foreshadowing when you think about it. I mean, it kind of
but then in the post conference, The Rock's talking about how cool this is in this moment, and anytime you go online and criticize him, like when people are like the bad blood showing up at the end of the show with 3 fingers just to like it meant nothing. Like, oh no, actually you got to pay attention. Like, it still annoys me to no end that he could never be wrong. He can't look bad.
We'll get to that, Sean and Burnsy. Don't worry. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so I feel like his involvement at there kind of annoys me. Also, in all jokes aside for what I said earlier, but seriously, Cena has not been a regular competitor for years, maybe since like pre-COVID times. So as I've stated before, like I'm kind of intrigued to see this because it'll be interesting to see storyline wise. But I guess also we didn't see it live. We were at the United show. So, I don't know if it's hit me. Like, I'm intrigued, and I think it's good for the Cody story. I'm a little. I guess what they've done good as a story is like, are they going to give him the 17? Because I think that's what the story is kind of going to focus on, and he's going to win the title at Mania, and then someone gets it back after that. Maybe not Cody this time. Maybe Punk. Maybe someone else, or are we continuing WWE's trend of Cody being the new guy? Because there's also the idea of this being like a passing of the torch in essence of, the face of WWE. So, I don't know. Like, I just feel like I'm too jaded to WWE to fully get the full impact of it. Rock being around annoys me. I don't hate Cena as much as I'm indifferent to him most of the time. And what I was going to get at earlier, actually, just popped back in my head. When he came back, whoa,
what happened to my camera?
I think it's another camera. Okay, when Cena came back and kind of announced this last run, I feel like he was always kind of a very expressive actor, but I feel like he was being really over the top, corny, babyface type stuff. Even in that final scene. Right, where he's like in the match in the Rumble, in the Chamber, he was kind of over the top. I love you too, or I miss you too, Punk. I miss you, all that stuff. And then afterwards, when he's standing behind Cody and like, yeah, and then when Cody tells him go F yourself, he's like, yeah, he does the most over exaggerated like fist pump and all this.
Yeah,
it makes me wonder, knowing a while back that he was going to turn. If he did that, and now going forward as the heel character, he's going to be very nonchalant and subdued in his expressiveness. And I give him credit if that's what's kind of coming out, because I kind of feel like that's what it was. Like, I feel like he was being overly cartoony babyface so that it kind of like really caught you on this. I will give him some credit for that. I don't hate the guy. I'm just kind of indifferent. And I know it's big in terms of we never thought it would happen, but, for what it's worth, I guess compliments to Triple H, like Tommy said earlier, he's done things that WWE was never brave enough to do in the past. So, kudos to them for that part of it.
right.
I do think he could go back there because that's what he did during his Dr. Thugonomics days. He was more methodical, calculated, especially because, he was doing different raps and everything, and he, spoke slower. He didn't become over the top more until after he turned face. So,
well, we got a hint of it during the post chamber press conference. He just walked in, didn't say a word, very subdued, just dropped the mic and leave. And I think we're going to get a whole different Cena than what we saw before.
I think that would be best, right?
We're not going to get a rapping Cena. We're not going to get a guy that's going to talk on the mic much. Exact opposite of hustle, loyalty, respect. He's not going to care. He was always adamant when his feud with The Rock about how he's showing up every day. He's not even going to be on Raw till the 17th of March. That's when he's next scheduled to be on. Like, it's a whole 2 weeks. 2-3 weeks before we even get a potential explanation for him, if he even gives us one. But that's the genius of it. Like, people are gonna talk and fester about this for all this time online, before people get to hear what he has to say about it, which is genius. He's probably not going to do the rap thing because people love that. He's going to do the exact opposite of it. Obviously, I don't know how many more wishes he's going to be granting right now. People are already photoshopping the F them kids on his towel instead of my time is now stuff.
Oh, that was another meme I saw.
Yeah.
What if this was a wish from one of the kids?
Right. The last spring. I want you to
I hadn't even
before,
that's funny.
That's
funny.
But I think deep down, this is something he always wanted to do, and they found the right storyline to do it.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, people have already posted, the Rock did the 3. This time it was the 2. Is there one more person to be in this little stable he's building here?
Yeah, Travis Scott. What do you mean?
Not, like, could it be Stone Cold? Some have even taken a long shot that it could be Chris Jericho, which, by the way, that would be nuts. I don't know how much longer Jericho has on his AEW.
I want to say yes, just to get him out of AEW. But then I want to say no because I want to watch WrestleMania. So
yeah. So I mean, who knows where they go with this? Maybe it's Rollins. Who knows? And then obviously, yeah, when Bernsey and Sean mentioned it, the Punk promo to open Raw.
Oh, I thought you meant Sean. What was Rollins wearing?
No, well, that too.
In all fairness, you can say that at pretty much every show now for Rollins.
Yeah,
But anyways, go ahead with Punk.
Punk's promo. If you haven't watched the opening Netflix, and flat out I didn't see it live.
I did.
Yeah, Adi had pitching. My son had a basketball game, and while I'm at the basketball game, I get the message on the group chat about, okay, I think I'm starting to like Punk again. I was like, what? I never said something like that. And Tina's like, what is he talking about? I don't know. So put the kids to bed. We go and record an episode of Island of Reality podcast, which should be out soon.
Nice.
But afterward, we're like, okay, we got to see what Mike's talking about. We load up Netflix, start Raw, and just listen to the promo, and it's just like, damn, it's amazing. Yeah. Nobody does it better than Punk, hands down. No one does it. And the best part, this line, both of you bald. I was like, God, it just subtly hits at the baldness.
There's nothing subtle about John Cena's bald spot.
There's nothing subtle about it when you got NW and then they put the bald spot as O. It's very Manu Ginobili-esque.
Yes.
We got a lot of that as Spurs fans when he was there. But it's so great. It's everything about it. Even to segue into Seth Rollins. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Mike, I already know what the favorite part of Punk's promo was.
Which
and
part?
you rock.
Oh, yes. Yes.
That was
you didn't show. You couldn't show up here for you.
Yes.
I was like, and that's. I think that's the moment I go, okay, I love this Punk again.
But when he said that, I was like, damn.
Real quick, here's what I want to say, and I'll keep it brief.
Yeah.
If I can get the Punk that's been in these big matches with Drew, the Punk that was in the Chamber, and the Punk that kicked off Monday Night Raw, and none of the rest of the crap that Punk does, I'm sold. I'm there because he is great when he's doing that stuff, when he's in the ring, all the other stuff that he gets involved in. And also, I'm glad they stopped because a while when he was coming back to WWE, he started doing those like, oh gosh, it's so great to be back and thanks fans. And I was like, ooh, that's not CM Punk. This is CM Punk
level.
And the Punk in the Chamber and the Punk in some of those big matches. Keep it to that. Don't do anything else. Don't talk any other time.
I mean, calling out Becky Lynch, you better come get your man because if I get some first going in a wheelchair, like right into that. They set up the cage at Madison Square Garden for next week on Raw, which this has got to have some major implications. And they brawled all over the place. Tina's cracking up watching that because it's so funny. How many indie wrestlers do we see just take bumps and stuff through that whole ordeal? I personally think Punk in a rage now. Like this is the biggest rage he's been in since he came back to wrestling. This includes fighting with Jack Perry backstage at AEW. I think he wins the cage, and I think they pull a storyline where he wants The Rock on night one of Mania, and if he wins, he gets put into the championship match, Cody Cena, and they make it a triple threat. That's where I'm thinking they go with it, personally. If he beats
I see what you're saying.
Boss, he gets.
Well, I know.
Yeah,
but Rock's not losing on night one. But also, like there's still there's still stuff that was set up with him, Rollins, and with Roman.
Reigns.
There's still the connection to the favor he has from Paul Heyman, technically.
Maybe that is the favor.
And also, I don't want to see Rollins lose the cage match. Maybe with interference and stuff, but he's really like an unsung hero of the last several years of WWE. He put Cody over several times when Cody returned, and then he did all the stuff last year, basically sacrificing himself and his title to end the bloodline or to end Roman's reign. And then he's lost. He lost to Punk in the match on the Monday, the Netflix debut. Right. I kind of hate to see him just kind of always be the guy putting him over. What I'd honestly like to see is maybe Roman show up, get involved in the cage match, which allows Rollins to win, and then set up the triple threat that way. I feel more like if Cena does win this to get a 17, then maybe we get him and Punk at like SummerSlam or something down the road.
Or Money in the Bank, like
plus,
that classic, you know. So,
I don't know if Rock is still even going to be available to actually wrestle. It may be that like he orchestrates this, but not, doesn't actually get involved in the matches. And yeah, Angel, I shared that with them because she erased it a little bit later, but because someone had put up that Roxanne and CM Punk had matching gear in the chamber, and then Becky quote tweeted that and was like, maybe I'm not the one whose man needs to be taken under control or whatever. Which is funny because there was, when Punk came back, he was always at the PC, mentoring Jade or Cora Jade and Roxanne, and we were just like, weird, Punk. Like 9/10 of your pictures are just with like the hot young women in NXT. So, what are you gonna do?
I don't know. Does this bring AJ Lee into the fold if they start using Becky's name? If they stop name dropping Becky?
Please, like I know she's involved in a lot of stuff, but her and Becky, hell yes.
That's a lot of convincing to get AJ Lee to come back.
I know, but
I mean,
everyone wants it. Like I saw someone's TikTok that was literally like something about like I'm a joke because every year I think AJ Lee's coming back to the Rumble. I was like, oh, but it's true.
Yeah,
like it'd be awesome though. Yes,
it would. That's a harder sell. I mean, hell, hard enough sell is getting Punk back in WWE. A harder sell is going to be AJ Lee back in the ring, I think. So, but you never know. Obviously, a lot of thoughts to share on this, but I will say this: we got a John Cena heel turn before we got Grand Theft Auto 6, and that's just another.
And before the Cowboys made a Super Bowl again.
Yes.
That was my favorite one. Hell, I think before they made it past the second round to a champion NFC championship.
Yeah,
they've got a few
NFC. Yeah, that would probably be that. So wildness. So a lot to see where this lays out. Obviously, Randy Orton, lost in all the shuffle was Randy Orton's return to face off with Kevin Owens at Chamber. And even on top of that, Io Sky defeating Rhea Ripley, which, as you said, Mike, maybe they could rematch before we even get to.
Well, so it was interesting. Like, I don't know if you saw Rhea Ripley's promo, but apparently they're playing into her, like, feeling isolated, alone. Her friends always turning on her. Although, to be fair, she turned on Liv first. Like, there's always that little part of the story. But I've heard a lot. Okay, even before I kind of read stuff, in my mind, there's no way Rhea Ripley's not having a huge WrestleMania involvement or match somehow. She's Rhea freaking Ripley. She's one of their most popular superstars, period. Mm-hmm. And now people are kind of insinuating that they'll do something that kind of gets it back to a triple threat, so that that's Bianca, her, and Io for the belt. So yeah, like I feel like something's coming down. It was a little bit of a shock, but it may be to get it back to a triple threat, and maybe to give more nuance to a character for Rhea that they kind of want to see going forward.
Maybe a fatal four-way if Jade Cargill gets involved. Like you said it. You're thinking maybe Bianca is a big part of the storyline. Maybe it was something she wanted Naomi to do, and it happened. How do we know Jade Cargill doesn't become involved with this too? I mean,
poor Naomi probably won't be involved in the actual match or whatever.
After that beatdown, I may not see her on TV for a month and a half.
Did you see her Did you see what her and Jimmy were at the what's the new wrestling Queen of the Ring?
Yeah.
She had a neck brace.
Nice sell.
Selling the things. I was like,
very Andy Kaufman-esque. Yeah, for sure.
No, yeah. But no, I gotta say it. I know we've still got 6 weeks or whatever to WrestleMania, whatever it is. Mm-hmm. They've done a pretty good job of like, you kind of know where they're going, but at the same time, there's some options. Like it's not. It'll. I'm assuming kind of be set in stone as we get closer and closer, but they've got some good kind of like stories that are kind of mixed with options, like choose your own adventure books back in the day. So I like it.
For sure. This is going to be amazing. So
at some point in the next few years, there's going to be a WrestleMania where we just feel like they miss, right? Because like there's only so many of these over the top stories you can pull. The bloodline, like at some point, like WrestleMania 44, it's going to be like a solid show, but they're like, there was no big story turn thing. Like at some point, it's got to like, regress to the mean, right?
Yeah.
They can't keep getting away with it. Okay.
All right. Well, great discussion, guys. That we could go on for a while with that, but let's move into AEW Revolution. Yeah, AEW, follow that. You got to follow. I mean, let's face it. This might have been the greatest Elimination Chamber pay-per-view of all time. I completely forgot about our picks. So, on our pick results, Key Vibes went 0-1. Remember, she picked Roxanne Perez. That was really she picked. I went 1-3. Tommy 2-2. Mike 3-1.
Nice
on that. So on to our WrestleCast ratings: 0 to 5. 5 being WrestleMania 17. 0 being December to Dismember. If you're following along, give us your rating for Elimination Chamber as well. I'm going to start this off by saying it's a 4.75. That 0.25 is the women's tag team match. Was my God, that just brought it. Everything else was so great about this pay-per-view. And dare I say, this might be the greatest Elimination Chamber pay-per-view of all time. I'm just going to throw that out there right now. So 4.75 for me. Tommy, what about you?
You know what? Yeah, I'll go ahead and give it 4.75. I'll say it because they're bold enough to do something different, bold enough to take a risk like that. So I'll give them that.
All right, and Mike.
I think I'm gonna stick with you guys in the 4.75. It was really good. Like the women's, like you said, was amazing. I think Tina threw out in the chat that Liv was like the MVP of that. We even talked about like her picture from the next day where she was just bruised and like scarred all over.
Yeah,
like crazy stuff.
The freaking hair, the whip.
Yeah.
Oh,
like
God.
the sound it makes, man, is crazy. Again, like I think on a lot of past pay-per-views, the women's tag match would have been like pretty solid.
Mm-hmm.
It's just I don't think people were invested in the story. I think they're waiting for now that they know Tiffany is
facing Charlotte.
Moving on to Charlotte. I don't think there's as much interest in her and Nia anymore. She's kind of past that story. Seeing Trish is cool. Like she's ageless. She always looks amazing.
Yes, she is.
But yeah, I think that was the only not great thing about the show. Like you said, the unsanctioned match, awesome. The stuff they do to each other, and then again, like the men's was a really good too, and the way it finished, and again, they've made so many top level, like believable main eventers, and then they had Logan Paul, but I mean, but no, it was a solid show, and again, maybe if I was a little more connected and not so jaded with the Cena turn, I give it a 5. I don't know. But it was still pretty solid. Like I can't complain.
Sean gives it a 4.25. Bernsey also gives it a 4.75. So our overall rating is a 4.75 for the Elimination Chamber. Right now, the top pay-per-view of the year so far. So, yeah. All right. Well, let's get into our discussion of AEW Revolution. Taking place on Sunday. 10 matches on the card. Pre-show match. We won't pick this one, but it's Big Boom AJ and the Conglomeration against Johnny TV.
You want to put the women's chamber to shame. This match right alone, though, the pre-show.
Mansoor and Mason Madden.
That Big Boom dude can wrestle. He was a legit wrestler.
Yeah. Oh, we'll see what happens, right?
Okay. Let's move on.
You know what? The one thing that just bugs me about AEW and the storylines they're going with is at the start of the Death Riders, Orange Cassidy looked like one of the leaders of the Young Guns that the whole point of the storyline was, and now he's in a pre-show match with the Costco Boom guys. And like, don't get me wrong, Johnny TV and the M&M collection are freaking hilarious.
Yeah,
I love that. They remind me basically of a version of what was the tag team, Fandango and Breezango. Yes, definitely just a great like they can wrestle but hilarious. But it just I don't know, it kind of sucks. And now we'll get to it later in the card, but now a really old guy is potentially taking the title instead of one of the AEW young guns. So I don't know. That's kind of a little frustrating.
Deep down, I hope not. Yeah.
Oh no, you know how it works.
I know how it works, but I just hope it doesn't.
No. I'm sorry. I was talking about the booms.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. They like chicken bakes and the hot dogs from Costco's. That's all I know.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's start with this one. MJF versus Hangman Adam Page. Tommy, who you got?
I will say, I didn't watch tonight, so that's probably gonna mess up my pick. But I'm gonna go Adam Page.
Okay. Mike?
I'm gonna go Adam Page too. I feel like even though he's kind of already been a champion, if you want a legitimate AEW guy that could beat Moxley and to be like worth something, I think he's another guy, even though, he's kind of already been champion, like I said, but Adam Page is a solid pick and everyone loves him. Like fans get behind him kind of no matter what he does. So
I'm going to go Page on this one too as well. I wouldn't be too mad at MJF winning this, but yeah, it's weird. It's Page's time again to kind of build him up to get a shot at Moxley, right? Like they need to start with somewhere. So
yeah,
Angel, that's so bad because apparently that's true. That really happened.
Oh gosh, Lord,
that's how they responded to something. Yeah,
okay.
I remember hearing about this, but that's crazy. It happened on the stream. Wow. Okay, yeah, that's
we mentioned the steel cage match taking place on Raw, but before that, we are going to get. Did they change this one? Or is it still a steel cage? Yeah, there it is. Will Ospreay against Kyle Fletcher.
Yeah.
Yep, Ospreay and Fletcher.
Yeah.
Mike, what do you got?
I got to go Ospreay here because Kyle Fletcher's gotten the better of him up till now, and I know he's kind of like that young, guy of the future, but I also feel like you've got a lot of momentum behind Ospreay, and I think this can be one of those losses that Kyle Fletcher takes and then eventually comes back, looks more legitimate because he's gotten the better of Ospreay for a while now. And I think you got to give Ospreay back his heat a bit. So,
all right, I'm going with Ospreay as well. Tommy, what about you?
Ospreay, because I feel like he's another guy that by the middle of the year will be a top contender for the world title, and this will be kind of like the road that starts him on that. So,
speaking of top contenders, Swerve Strickland and Ricochet, the winner is the number one contender for the AEW World Championship. And I'm going to say it, Ricochet. I like the run he's been on. It's just what they're doing with him. With this heel, Ricochet has been really good. I think he's going to surprise something. I don't know if he'll be clean. I don't know if he'll get some help, but I think Ricochet wins this one. Tommy, what about you?
I'm going Swerve. Sorry, I can't go against him.
Yeah, I figured.
But I'm going
Mike,
Swerve.
what about you?
Yep.
Tommy, when I tell you what's going to happen, this might rival the Cena turn. I think Ricochet's going to win with help from Prince Nana.
Ooh.
And I think Prince Nana is going to turn on Swerve.
That's partially what I'm afraid will
like
happen.
Paul Bear turn,
Ricochet.
Then I might have to just ball up in a corner in the fetal position and cry.
Yeah, because I do agree with JC. Like you've given Ricochet this chance here in AEW. He's getting some momentum. Mm-hmm. I think Swerve can eat losses, especially when they're kind of not clean. So if you ever want to give that chance and give Ricochet that push, I think this may be it.
All right. Now on to the championship matches, starting with the TBS Championship. Mercedes Moné against Momo Watanabe. Tommy, you got a member of Stardom here challenging. I know. I got to start with you. It's rotating around, but you got a member of Stardom here taking on the CEO. Who you got?
Jason says Page, Ospreay, Swerve so far.
Okay. Yeah, make your predictions along with us as we go, guys. So
I want to say the person with M in their name.
Okay.
Yep, that's what I'm going with. The person with M in their
name. Or their
name.
Last name ends in E. That might also.
There you go. And I'm quite
which
confident.
One, you with an accent or the one without the accent? Which one's going to be?
Yes.
Damn it. You still my plan. Damn it.
Your answer is yes, Tommy. It still works.
Angel really wants the title off Mercedes. She's picking Momo.
I figured a lot of people feel that way, but I'm gonna go Monet with absolutely no confidence in that pick whatsoever. I have no confidence in this pick at all.
Mike.
So I understand people's desire to get the title off her.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's been kind of up and down with her. And in all fairness, if any company would do this, it would be AEW. But I just like, with all due respect to Tommy, who knows her, I don't think anyone else does. And I think it would be really weird for you brought in Mercedes as a big name, you made like a big deal, to lose the title to Momo Watanabe would make sense to some people, but I don't think it would make sense to the majority of people. So I'm going to stick with Mercedes for now.
And I'm at the point where I'm not picking against Mercedes until somebody beats her. So that's just yeah, that's it. Angel, I know it wouldn't make sense, but I just want the title. Now you know how we felt when Cena was champion for so long. Sometimes, yeah. All right.
Charlotte Flair. Oh.
Yeah. Damn. Tag team championship: the Hurt Syndicate versus the Outrunners. Mike, what do you got?
All right. Why did the Hurt Syndicate had to come in and be so dominant? Because I want the Outrunners to win this so bad, but like it's Lashley and Benjamin. Shoot his name, Benjamin. Thank you.
Yeah.
Who came in and reminded everyone that he's one of the best wrestlers in the world himself before Lashley even got there, and they've just been dominating. I'm going to go Hurt Syndicate, hoping that I'm wrong, but I feel like I'm not going to be.
All right, I'm going Hurt Syndicate as well. Tommy?
Hurt Syndicate, they came in way too. They came in almost too good. You know,
yeah.
It's like they proved right away, like, oh yeah, guys, we're actually can wrestle.
And Jason here's got something in the chat because last week, I think it was on Dynamite or maybe it was on Collision, Mercedes ran into Billy Starks, which, as we know, has been the off again, on again. What do they call him? Not the follower, but the minion, of Athena. And I mean, Athena. I mean, at this point, just call it Athena OH. Like Athena of Honor, because she's been carrying that.
Wow, Athena OH. Wow,
I like
okay.
it.
I mean, I don't think the ROH male champion ever shows up on ROH, so you might as well.
It is true.
But yeah, I hope that's the eventual goal for Mercedes.
All right. Continental Championship: Okada defending against Brody King. Again, this is another one where you pick until they lose. I'm going with Okada. As great as this match is, as good of a shot as Brody King has, I'm thinking Okada retains here. Tommy, what about you?
Actually, I'm inclined to agree. I'm going to say Okada.
And Mike.
This is gonna prevent me from teasing this, but I'm gonna go Brody King.
All right,
because that man needs a shot. He needs something to show how awesome he is. So,
okay.
Well, I mean, hey, you could be right. You never know.
International Championship: Takeshita defends against Kenny Omega. Obviously, with Don Callis in Takeshita's corner. Tommy, what do you got on this?
I got Takeshita because I feel like they're still making him a big deal. I have a feel like it would take Omega to lose a lot to actually hurt him. So I'm going Takeshita to win.
All right, Mike, what about you?
See, this is interesting because I feel like this is the exact same situation with Ospreay and Fletcher, and like they have this basically protege, one of the next versions of them, who has gotten the better of them for a while. Like before Kenny went out with the not the injury, but with the diverticulitis and stuff. Takeshita was a 2023 pinned him twice, like in a week, in like a tag team match, and then at All Out, I think it was. So he's gotten the better of Kenny for a while. So part of me thinks Kenny's going to get this win, and it may continue the feud. But again, I feel like you can't have them lose all the time. Like you got to get one win in the series. Like no sweep, gentleman sweep, maybe.
Yeah.
So yeah,
So you
that's
going
my
to Omega? Or are you going?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm gonna go with Kenny. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I thought
I
I
was just
said
talking
it,
through
yeah.
it, but I never heard a pick. Yeah.
Sorry, my bad.
Catching up on some of the stuff here. Jason says Hurt Syndicate. Jason says Okada. Angel says
Omega.
Brody. Jason says Omega. Angel says T Dude because she can't spell, but she loves Kenny. No, she's effing on picking
Wow.
Kenny. I'm going with Takeshita. Again, another one of those. The fact that Don Callis in his corner is going to cost Omega something, I think, and that's kind of an effect where Takeshita's going to win. Maybe potentially not clean, but you have that there. So, AEW Women's Championship. Toni Storm defends the rematch clause against Mariah May. Mike, what do you got?
I'm going to go with Toni Storm. I'm hoping that they didn't just put the title on her because they were in Australia. I love the story they told with her going back to old Toni Storm, thinking she was a rookie. And then, then it turns out she was still timeless the whole time. I think they really made Mariah May with this whole rivalry they've had and her run with the belt. But I think there's more to get out of timeless Toni Storm right now. And hey, maybe Mariah May goes after Mercedes. But I'm going to go with Toni Storm.
I forgot to note this is a false count anywhere match. I forgot to put that in there too. So,
Yep.
But I'm going with Toni Storm as well on this. I think the false count anywhere is an advantage to her over Mariah. And yeah, I really hope this is not a transitional thing just because they were in Australia as well. Tommy, what about you?
Yeah,
Okay.
Toni Storm. I don't see any reason for her to lose it here. So I say Toni Storm.
Angel says Timeless, Burnsy, Tony, Jason, Tony also as well. So, and finally, AEW Championship. Jon Moxley defends against Cope, as he's calling himself now, because he's only got one syllable apparently. Regardless of the way this has been promoted, regardless of the story they're telling, I think the company benefits more with Mox as the champion. I love the storyline. I love the fact that he's keeping the title of the briefcase. I think that is fantastic and what he's trying to build here. And nothing against Adam Copeland and everything, but he doesn't need this. He doesn't. As great as a match it is, this is where Moxley is thriving. If I'm not mistaken, I think Mox has been in AEW now longer than he was entirely in WWE as Dean Ambrose. Is that correct?
Possibly. I'd
trying
have
to
to look
think
at
of
the
that.
times.
Yeah.
I honestly
Yeah.
don't know.
Angel copied me what I'm trying to do. That's funny. So I'm going with Moxley to win this. Tommy, what about you?
I'm going
Okay.
Moxley. I feel like they're gonna have someone, like you said, from the younger generation take it off of him. But this is just to
Hold it over.
Well, I mean, I feel like this is just because this is a couple of his first things since he got injured,
Oh,
so
yeah.
that's why he was in this. So, and with Jay White lurking around, I feel like Jay White's gonna get involved some kind of way.
Mike, what about you?
In the immortal words of Regina George, stop trying to make Cope happen. Just stop. Like, we get it. You can't be Edge anymore. WWE owns that name, and it sucks, right? It sucks for Mercedes Moné because in a weird way, I think it would have worked out better for her if she could have still been Sasha Banks. But you can't be Edge. Cope is just, it doesn't work. You're Adam Copeland. Go with it. And you're also going to lose to Jon Moxley because all the reasons you just said, there was no point to having Cope win this belt other than the fact that his best friend his former best friend Christian Cage still has that damn basically Money in the Bank version thing that he can cash in, if you will. Yeah. But I think either way, even that would take away from Moxley's Death Rider story. So definitely going to go with Jon Moxley.
Mox, for sure. Jason is as well. Angel says, I suppose Moxley as well, too. So
Hardblade.
All right. Well, AEW Revolution is Sunday, March 9th at 7 p.m. Central Daylight Time. Don't forget, turn your clocks forward an hour this weekend.
What?
Oh, wait.
Daylight
Seriously?
savings begins Saturday night, officially at 2 a.m. on Sunday. Your clock is going to jump forward to 3 a.m. So, Yeah, I know. It takes place in the
Oh.
Crypto.com arena in Los Angeles, California. On pay-per-view on Triller TV, $50. And
I don't know if you've heard the new news.
yes,
Right.
that officially also, this actually just broke. Amazon Prime is carrying this as well, for additional cost, right? Yes.
Yeah, you still have to pay for it, but now you can buy it on Amazon Prime.
Let me see if it's the same cost. I'm not sure. If
I would assume it would be, but I don't know.
Let me see if they have this updated here.
Angel, I agree, but there with Sasha being kind of better than Mercedes, but there's a lot more to it with WWE and the people around her, but yeah, no, I agree mostly.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So confirm. If you have Prime Video, if you don't have Triller TV, you have Prime Video. The pay-per-view is still $50. This is in the U.S., Canada, and the United Kingdom. So now you have another avenue to watch Revolution, which is Prime Video, still the $50 cost. But yeah, through Amazon, you can now watch AEW Revolution. And they will broadcast the 0-hour pre-show on there for free as well, starting at
nice.
Is this at Eastern time? It says 7:30, which I imagine is 6:30 our time, so the 30 minutes.
Probably, yeah.
So, yeah. So yeah, that news actually just broke today. So you got Triller TV, you got Prime. Those are options to catch AEW Revolution. So pretty wild this world we're living in. Amazon's going to be jumping on everything, I'm pretty sure. So
well, it's just interesting the way the streaming services are getting into the wrestling now. Netflix and I don't know if it's news, but I did see that a lot of people assumed with Peacock's contract ending next year that it would jump to Netflix, but Peacock is still pretty persistent on keeping the PLEs with them, so might be a bidding war basically. And surprise, catch this: WWE is going to make a ton more money in the next few years. No way.
Yeah, that's going to be a huge bidding war, and let's face it, the fact that WWE has the PLEs, the pay-per-views. Peacock needs that. I mean, the only other thing I'm really watching up here right now is Suits LA, which isn't bad. 2 episodes in, it's got to grow on me a little bit. It's definitely not the original, but and I still need to watch Conclave. That is on Peacock. I definitely need to watch that too. So.
I don't know. I saw something about Dave Meltzer writing, or again, take what whether you believe everything he says, don't believe whatever, but that Peacock's actually lost money. And that the fact that they don't make any money from purchase of it, just from people subscribing to watch it, at generally a cheaper price, may be hurting them. But I don't know. Like, as a fan, you love the idea that if you just own the streaming service, you could watch the pay-per-views.
Right.
That's awesome. And, WWE is kind of making so much money hand over fist. I don't know if they even notice. But it's interesting if that would affect it either way.
See how much money Netflix is ready to throw at it when it comes available. I think we have one more. Well, there's officially 1 more year left on the Peacock deal, right? Like March next year's when it expires. Yeah. So.
Right.
All right. Well, with that, let's move into our 1-minute warning segment here. Mike, do you have something this week?
I feel like I got a lot of it off my chest. Throughout the show. Do I have anything else? No, I think I'm going to pass for right now.
All right. Tommy, what about you?
Actually, same. I was thinking the same thing. I got everything off my chest too.
Okay, well, I didn't. So, and let me set this up here. First off, am I somewhat disappointed in the heel turn? Yes and no. Obviously, this means I'm not going to get my dream Cena versus Joe Hendry thing at WrestleMania, though that could happen later this year. But to Dave Meltzer and Sean Sapp, you can't always be right. Own it when you're wrong, dude. Sapp threw out his predictions, his things, and when none of it came to pass, decided to start deleting tweets. Look, this is a new wrestling world. They're not going to fucking share everything with you. Get over it. Triple H kept this heel turn for Cena pretty close to the vest, and it's great. I love the fact that you guys, like us, have no freaking idea what is going to happen at Mania. You're trying to report as best you can, but if you're wrong, own it. Just own it. You're essentially, as a wrestling reporter, you're obviously reporting some news, but you're giving predictions as well. So just own that you're making predictions with the best information you have. Own the fact that Triple H is probably using someone to feed you some false information. That's the way this goes. If he's doing that, then props to him because that's how you use the dirt sites to kind of keep people on their toes. That being said, I will offer my prediction about how this all ends with Cena. Obviously, we may not see the end of his career at the end of this year. If this heel turn depends how long it lasts. But the one person, the savior, that will turn John Cena back to the light is R-Truth. And yeah, I'm sure people have posted this elsewhere, but these guys will back me up in the fact that I was calling this out in our group chat before it got posted anywhere else on the internet. R-Truth will be the only one who can bring John Cena back to the light. And when that does happen, R-Truth will be the final wish that John Cena grants, because that will be R-Truth's make-a-wish, is that Cena retires as a babyface and goes into the Hall of Fame as one. So R-Truth will be doing the Lord's work by the end of this year. R-Truth will be the one that saves John Cena's soul, if you will.
Wow.
So.
I did say they need, after what he was tweeting and posting,
Yeah.
I did say they need to get him involved somehow in this storyline. So that would be hilarious.
It would be poetic if that's how it is. The fact that he's calling everything AI generated is hilarious to me. So yeah.
And then I honestly don't even know if the video was like an old clip that just fit or if it was, but I saw something like him going like, "Are you sure? Is that what happened?" or something like that. And I was like, he's so good. I honestly don't know if this is just some old clip that fits or if this was a new clip that got released, but
Okay.
it was great.
Hold on, Jason. I'm not saying he won't be. Obviously, it's not going to happen at Mania.
Hey, why can't he be one of Cody Rhodes' backup?
Maybe
That'd be cool.
Maybe it could be SummerSlam. Maybe it could be in the bank. There's other pay-per-views involved in the road. So there's a shot. Who knows? There's still a shot. I really hope Joe Hendry is on this list. I know deep down Cena has one person on his list that he wants to wrestle before he's retired. He's long said this, and it's Stone Cold Steve Austin. I don't know if we'll ever get that. I don't know. I mean, you got to have the right amount of money for Stone Cold to do it, obviously. But yes, I do think Hendry will get his shot at Cena at some point this year. Whether it's champion versus champion, if Cena wins at Mania, who knows? We'll see. So
I do want to say this too. If Rock is going to be involved in WrestleMania,
yeah,
you unload the dump truck to Steve Austin, because as much as Taker's presence was cool there, you know what it was meant for last year in the Bloodline storyline.
Mm-hmm.
You know that position was meant for Austin. It makes sense. If he's involved this year in any way, WWE, take one of the checks you got from Saudi Arabia and just send it to Stone Cold, okay? Because you're going to get like 4 more at least. So
I was about to say, take all the money you got from Saudi Arabia at this point.
yeah, seriously.
Yeah,
He can buy 3 more ranches. Anyway,
Right?
that's true. Yeah.
Broken Skull Dubai. No, I'm just kidding.
And even though they didn't get Stone Cold for that, the fact that it was Taker, who is basically like the guardian angel of WrestleMania at
Right.
this point,
Yeah, I get that, but you know it was meant for Stone Cold.
Yeah, for sure. We'll see what happens for sure. And hell, Stone Cold even said, "I'll be there if you need me." He said in an interview with Cody before.
Yeah.
So, long-term storytelling. I love that it's coming around fruition. So
Triple H, I'll be there for Cody if he needs me.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Can't make it more obvious than that, right? Thank you everyone for joining us on this week's episode of the WrestleCast. Once again, AEW Revolution is Sunday, March 9th, 7 p.m. Central Daylight Time. The clocks jump forward an hour for everybody except Arizona. Yeah, they don't do daylight savings.
Yeah, I know,
It's
I know.
pretty freaking hot there. I don't blame them. My parents live there. Be in the Crypto.com Arena in Los Angeles, California, formerly known as the Staples Center, and will be on Triller TV and Amazon Prime for $50. You can also go watch it at your local Dave & Buster's as well, including the one here in San Antonio. So
Cool.
any other comments here? Brohos really, Angela?
She does that to
Yeah,
us.
I know
That's
she
what
does.
she calls us, yeah.
Next week, we will recap everything that goes down at Revolution, and we will also be talking about TNA Sacrifice, a.k.a. yet another reason to watch the famed Scott Steiner promo.
Hello, my friend, we meet. Oh, sorry, wrong
Yeah,
one.
Steiner math is what it is. We will also have a pretty big interview next week on the WrestleCast. I'm not going to spoil it yet,
Okay.
but it is somebody who hasn't exactly wrestled in San Antonio in a very, very long time.
True.
But is such a big part of the Texas wrestling scene and recently appeared on the floor on Fox.
My heart goes cold.
If you haven't been watching the floor, go check it out. See how we did. So, all right. Thank you again. Over here, we got Tommy.
Thanks, guys.
We got Mike.
Thanks, guys. Be good to each other.
And I'm JC. As always, Mr. Babyface is where pro wrestling is real.
People
Are fake.
Tips.
Catch y'all.
Adios, Gunther. Da na 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 na